Hello and thank you for watching my video. Welcome to another in the Guild Wars 2 lore series, and today we're going to be looking at an aspect of the Revenant, and that's the ability to summon Legends of the Mists. Now, there are 5 legends we can actually summon, and all 5 of them have their origins in Guild Wars 1. So we're going to go back and I'm going to give you a little bit of history on each one of them. Malicks. Now, Malicks the Unyielding was a Margonite overlord who was ruling over the Domain of Anguish. He actually had several lieutenants, such as Lord Jadoth here, which you're seeing in the background in the footage, and Malicks the Unyielding led the last bastion of demonic servants against Cormyr, because she took over from the fallen god Abaddon, and we get tasked in the Domain of Anguish, which is a elite area after completing the main story, to go and attack Malicks the Unyielding. And we actually get this repeatable quest that we can do. And Malicks is this strange, as you can see here, this strange like gorilla type creature that, you know, he's one of the most hardest bosses to actually fight in Guild Wars 1. He has a lot of enchantment removal, which was a skill and aspect in Guild Wars 1. He's pretty much immune to conditions, which is obviously where it comes into regarding Guild Wars 2, the fact that you are going to be able to convert your conditions and transfer them out as you know, when you're summoned and when you're actually in the form of Malicks, and that's what's going to be really useful playing as a Revenant, to summon Malicks. But he is not a good guy. He is going to be pretty peeved that you're actually using his skills, using him, summoning him from the mists, because he finds it quite offensive, really. So it's going to lead to some interesting conversations between you and Malicks the Unyielding. He was the last king of Deldramon, the king of the dwarves, and we first meet him when we're actually in Prophecies, and we actually want to travel from Ascalon. We're fleeing from the Char invasion, and we're trying to go through to Kryta. But we actually have to fight our way through the Stone Summit, which is a xenophobic faction of dwarves led by Ironhammer's cousin, Dagnar Stonepate. So we're trying to get past, and he helps us through. We actually then re-encounter him again in the expansion Eye of the North, when we're trying to fight the Destroyers. And King Jalis Ironhammer, he journeys to the Far Shiver Peaks, where he actually undergoes the rite of the Great Dwarf, turning all dwarves to stone. And they then go and help us attack the Destroyers. So the fact that he's being summoned to help us, and I guess fight Mordramoth, another dragon, or another Elder Dragon, he'll be delighted that he's back out and he's ready to fight. And obviously being turned to stone, you'd think, well, they could be immortal, like we see Ogden Stonehealer, but obviously being in the mists, it's apparent that he has obviously perished. But he was a really honourable character. You know, his brother, Breknar, actually sacrificed himself so that we could actually get through, you know, in particular when we go to the Fire Island chain. So for me, Jalis, he is one of those, he's a guy that will give you a bit of that toughness, you know, very different to the condition-heavy Malicks, being able to be, you know, strong and survive. Jalis, he's going to be a good legend to summon for sure. Ventari. Now, Ventari we first encounter in his refuge, Ventari's refuge, and Ventari is a centaur. Now, usually there is a lot of conflict between centaurs and humans, and in fact, Ventari was a former warrior fighting humans, you know, in this massive battle. And in the end, he got so tired of fighting humans that he became a pacifist and threw down, you know, all sort of, you know, the ability to fight. And we actually encounter him, the White Mantle, which were a main protagonist of Guild Wars 1, actually are trying to attack his refuge, and he refuses to defend it. So that's when we first encounter him. We also then encounter him again in the Eye of the North expansion, which is actually where the Grove is in Guild Wars 2. And he met a human warrior, a Ronin, who had been fighting the White Mantle, and his wife and child had been killed. And he managed to find this seed, and he took it to Ventari, who they both of them actually nurtured this seed. And Ventari would then write down his tenets of like what he believed in, such as, you know, pacifism and peace. And that's obviously where the Sylvari came from, and that's what the Sylvari take their honor to be like. So Ventari, a very peaceful and healing character, and he will offer surely some nice bits of wisdom when you're actually summoning him. Shiro Taguchi. Shiro was a bodyguard of the Emperor on the continent of Cantha. However, he began his fall from grace when a fortune teller, who was actually a demon sent by Abaddon, told him that the Emperor would be killing him during the harvest ceremony. This caused Shiro to go down a path of insanity, fearing for his life. He turned to forbidden magic, breaking imperial law, and during the ceremony, the Emperor began acting oddly and changing some protocols. So, using enchanted weapons, Shiro slew the Emperor and absorbed his soul, along with his powerful magic. However, Shiro did not escape. 2 champions managed to defeat Shiro, and his death caused the Jade Wind, releasing the energies of the harvest ceremony, and that turned the ocean to the Jade. This is still seen in Guild Wars 2 through the final Jade Fractal boss. After his death, the Oracle of the Mists attempted to turn Shiro into an envoy to ferry newly dead to the Mists as punishment for his actions. However, he learned to use this power to create an army of afflicted and eventually became mortal again. This time, however, he was defeated by heroes and was sent to the Realm of Torment controlled by Abaddon, where we meet Shiro once again in the Nightfall expansion, and we managed to defeat him along our way to defeating Abaddon. When we summon Shiro as a Revenant, he's obviously not going to be pleased, as he was extremely dangerous and unpleasant character, and so conversations between us and him, when we summon him, are likely to be fractious. Glint, a former dragon champion of the Elder Dragon Kralkatorrik. We first encounter Glint in GW1 by fighting through certain facets before coming face to face with her. She was known as the Keeper of the Flameseeker Prophecies, who hides away in the grains of sand in the Crystal Desert. The Flameseeker Prophecies foretold the fall of the Titans and the defeat of the Masat. She was freed from the control of Kralkatorrik by the Forgotten, who used a great spell. In return, Glint hid the Forgotten and several other races from the Elder Dragons during their last awakening. The dwarves who were saved formed the Brotherhood of the Dragon to protect her heritage. And when the dwarves were transformed to stone, a group of Alonans and Canthans took over her stewardship and would go on to be known as the Zephyrites. Glint secretly prepared for the Elder Dragon's awakening by collecting his crystallized blood and keeping a spear made from his spine, something that Destiny's Edge would attempt to use, with Snath using the blood and Ritlock taking the spear. When Kralkatorrik awoke, he sought Glint out for her betrayal, and despite the help of Destiny's Edge, perished. Glint's energies within her corpse were kept by the Zephyrites, who learned the ability to harness power from several aspects. Now, Glint is a friend to all races wise and ancient, and so will be an ally when we summon her, bringing grace and elegance to us and offering words of encouragement. One thing to note is when we kneel in Guild Wars 1 and we summon the image of Glint, this is very similar to how some of the images in the trailer for Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns, where Ritlock is summoning Glint as well. If you notice, you can see in the picture here, this is where Ritlock is summoning you can see here the Dragon of Glint, and that is very similar to the symbol and to the image of what we summoned in Guild Wars 1 when we summoned Glint, the image of Glint. So there you go, I hope that's a nice little comparison for you. So thank you very much for watching my video. Feel free to leave any comments regarding this, anything else that you think it would be, any other legends that you think might be pretty interesting to have for future development and updates in Guild Wars 2. But I hope this has been a little interesting lore series for you to actually give you some background regarding the legends of the Revenant. Thanks for watching, see you on the next video.